Long before Psyche understood what beauty meant, or why people whispered when she passed, she knew only the calm rhythm of her small, peaceful life. She was the youngest daughter of a gentle king and queen, raised with love, but also with a growing weight she never asked for. Wherever she went, people stared not with simple admiration, but with overwhelming awe, as if looking at someone who didn't feel real. Her beauty became a story, then a rumor, then a legend. Some even compared her to Venus, the goddess of love herself. Those comparisons became dangerous. At first, Psyche ignored them. She kept busy, helping her family, speaking kindly to everyone, and wandering the hills around her home. But whispers spread like wildfire. She is lovelier than the goddess. Even the shrines of Venus were visited less often as people filled Psyche's path with offerings meant for a divine figure she had no desire to be. Psyche felt only confusion. She never wanted worship. She wanted a real life, normal conversations, ordinary days, and a future she could shape with her own hands. But the world rarely allows someone placed on a pedestal to climb back down. High in the heavens, Venus watched the growing attention with rising anger. Each prayer meant for her, but instead offered to Psyche, stung like smoke in her eyes. She was not a goddess who accepted insults lightly. One evening, Venus stood in her glowing palace, eyes narrowed with both pride and irritation. "If mortals forget who true beauty belongs to, I will remind them." She called her son Cupid. He arrived with a quiet smile, golden hair catching the light, wings folding softly behind him. Though known for inspiring love with a single arrow, Cupid himself was gentle, patient, and curious. He tilted his head when he saw his mother's expression. "You seem troubled," he said lightly. Venus sighed. "This girl, Psyche. Mortals praise her as though she is divine. I want her to understand her place. Make her fall hopelessly in love with someone impossible, someone she can never have. Let heartbreak teach her humility." Cupid hesitated. Causing lovers to meet was one thing, creating heartbreak on purpose was another. But Venus expected obedience, and he gave a silent nod. He flew to the mortal world at night. The moon hung low, silvering the hills where Psyche walked alone. Her face looked thoughtful, almost lonely. She often wandered in the evenings, seeking peace from the attention she did not enjoy. Cupid watched her quietly from a distance. He had been told she was beautiful, but he had not expected beauty mixed with such deep gentleness. She knelt beside a small wildflower bent by the wind and propped it up with soft, careful hands. Her kindness struck him more strongly than her looks. Cupid lifted his bow, an arrow of gold notched between his fingers. His job was simple: make her fall in love with someone who would break her heart. But as he drew the bowstring back, Psyche glanced up. Her eyes met his, not recognizing who he was, not even sure she saw anyone at all, but the brief connection startled Cupid. His fingers slipped. The arrow turned, struck him. It sunk into his chest, flooding him with warm, overwhelming emotion that nearly took his breath. It was sudden, uninvited, and stronger than anything he had ever felt. He lowered the bow slowly. Psyche, unaware of the magic unfolding above her, rose and continued walking, lost in her thoughts. Cupid pressed a hand against his heart. The arrow meant for someone else now bound him with a fierce, unshakable love that frightened him almost as much as it moved him. How could he ever let Venus know? How could he ever let Psyche suffer when he already cared for her? Yet Psyche's life was about to change, whether he wished it or not. As days passed, her beauty brought her no joy. People admired her, but no one approached her as a person. Her sisters were married, forming new lives filled with laughter and companionship. Psyche remained alone. Men found her too stunning, too distant, too unreal to love in an ordinary way. Her parents grew worried. "Why does no one seek your hand?" her mother asked softly. "I don't know," she whispered. She felt like a statue everyone praised but no one touched. Worse yet, strange misfortunes began to cling to her family's kingdom. Crops faltered, weather shifted, animals acted restless. People began murmuring that Venus herself had turned against Psyche. Fear grew. Finally, her father traveled to a distant oracle, desperate for answers. When he returned, his face was drained of color. "My child," he told Psyche, "the oracle has spoken. The gods demand something from you. You must go to the highest mountain. There, a husband awaits." Psyche went still. A husband? Her father swallowed hard. "A fearsome being, a creature the gods have chosen for you." The words struck her like cold rain. People began preparing her for what they believed was a sacrifice. Her parents wept openly. Psyche understood their fear, but something in her heart felt strangely calm. She had always believed the gods had forgotten her. Now she saw they had been watching the whole time. When the day came, she climbed the mountain with quiet grace, dressed in soft white, her hair loose behind her like a trail of night. She stood alone at the peak, wind swirling around her. And then, silence. The world held its breath. A warm breeze suddenly lifted her, gentle as hands catching a falling leaf. It carried her away, cradling her like something precious. Psyche did not know that Cupid himself guided that wind, nor that the path ahead would lead her into a love deeper and more complicated than anything she had ever imagined. The wind that carried Psyche felt strangely alive, neither cold nor warm, but steady and comforting, as if a gentle hand guided her through the sky. She felt no fear, only a deep, growing curiosity. The world below shifted from mountains to forests and then to wide fields she had never seen before. Finally, the breeze slowed and lowered her toward soft ground. Psyche stepped carefully onto lush grass, feeling the earth steady beneath her feet. She found herself before a palace unlike anything built by human hands. It shimmered faintly, formed from smooth stone that glowed with a soft golden light. Delicate patterns moved across the walls, like sunlight playing on water. The air smelled of flowers, though none were in sight. Psyche hesitated. "Where am I?" Her voice whispered into the quiet, but no answer came. She approached the grand entrance, a tall archway that opened on its own as she neared it. Her heart trembled, but curiosity urged her forward. Inside, the palace was warm and bright. Lamps glowed with steady light, though no flames burned within them. Soft music hummed through the air without a single musician in sight. Every surface gleamed, elegant, but somehow welcoming. Then she heard a voice, not loud, not frightening, calm. "Welcome, Psyche." She spun around, but there was no one behind her. "Do not be afraid," the voice continued. "This palace is yours. Everything here exists for your care and comfort." "Who are you?" she whispered. "A friend," the voice said simply. "One who wishes you peace." Psyche frowned in confusion. Was this the creature the oracle had spoken of? The voice didn't sound monstrous. It sounded kind. "You may eat, rest, wander, and enjoy anything you wish. You will not be harmed here." Invisible servants guided her through the palace, offering food and gentle directions, though she never saw them. A soft bed awaited her. Warm baths, fragrant oils, and carefully prepared meals appeared whenever she needed them. Nights were quiet, peaceful, but also filled with a strange ache of uncertainty. When darkness fell each evening, the palace dimmed to a soft glow, and Psyche would lie awake listening to the silence. Then one night, as she drifted somewhere between sleep and wakefulness, she felt the presence of someone entering her room. The air shifted, warm and delicate. "Who is there?" she whispered into the darkness. A gentle voice replied, "I am your husband." Her breath caught. "Why do you hide from me?" "It is for your safety," he replied softly. "I cannot be seen yet, but I promise you that I mean no harm." His words were warm, his tone gentle. Something about him felt sincere. Still, Psyche's heart trembled with curiosity and confusion. "Are you the creature the oracle spoke of?" she asked quietly. He paused. "Some might see me that way, but not you." Psyche sat up in the darkness. "Why can't I see your face?" A soft, sad sigh filled the room. "Because the moment you see me, our peace may end. Trust is the only thing that keeps us safe." His presence felt comforting, like a warm blanket wrapping around her. Though she couldn't see him, he seemed real in a way no one had ever felt. A strange bond, fragile, growing, alive, began forming between them. Every night he came. Every morning he was gone before dawn. Days became easy. Nights felt full, even though she could not see the one who shared them. Though they spoke softly, gently, about simple things and deeper fears, Psyche felt her heart warming to him. She never touched him, but something inside her knew he was someone gentle, someone who carried burdens she didn't yet understand. But something else grew too. Longing. She wanted to know his face, his name, his truth. Weeks passed and her sisters came to mind more often. She wondered how they were, if they missed her, if they feared she was gone forever. Her hidden husband noticed her silence one night. "You miss your family," he said quietly. Psyche nodded. "My sisters. I don't want them to think I am dead." He paused before answering. "Very well. They may visit." The next morning, Psyche awoke on a hillside near the palace. Her sisters approached, shocked to find her alive. They embraced her tightly, tears of joy mixing with surprise at her transformation. She looked healthy, radiant, peaceful. "Is your husband here?" her eldest sister asked. "What kind of man is he?" Psyche hesitated. I do not know. I've never seen his face." Her sisters exchanged uneasy looks. "Never seen him? Psyche, how can you trust someone who won't show himself?" Psyche tried to defend him, but doubt crept into her heart like a cold shadow. Her sister's fear quickly turned into worry, then suspicion. "What if he is dangerous?" the younger sister whispered. "What if he hides because he is not a man at all?" Her chest tightened. Her sisters' voices filled her mind long after they left. That night, when her husband returned and spoke gently to her, she heard their warnings echo behind every word. "What are you?" she whispered into the darkness. He paused. "Someone who loves you." "Then why must I never see your face?" A long silence filled the room. Finally, he said, "Because trust is fragile. The moment you break it, everything may fall apart." His voice sounded heavier than ever before, full of a sadness she could not understand. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to silence her doubt. But her sister's fear had planted a seed, and it was beginning to grow. Psyche tried to push the doubts away. Each time she spoke with her hidden husband, she felt warmth in his voice, a kindness that settled her worries. But when morning came, her sister's warnings returned like echoes she couldn't silence. Their fearful expressions replayed in her mind, shaping shadows where none had existed before. Her husband noticed her unease long before she spoke of it. One night, as the room lay wrapped in darkness, he asked softly, "Why does your heart tremble? What worries you so deeply?" Psyche swallowed. "My sisters think you hide because you are dangerous. They think you might not be human at all." He was quiet for a long time. "And what do you think?" he asked finally. I trust you," she whispered. "But sometimes I wonder why you won't let me see your face." A sadness entered his voice. "Psyche, some truths must come at the right time. If you see me too soon, everything we have may break. Please trust me a little longer." Psyche closed her eyes. Part of her wanted to accept his words as enough, but another part, stirred by her sister's fear, demanded something more solid than whispers in the dark. When her sisters visited again, they pressed harder. "You're in danger," her eldest sister insisted. "Why else would he hide himself? Use a lamp tonight. Look at him. See what he really is." Her younger sister added, "If he loves you as much as you think he does, what harm will there be in a single glance?" Psyche wanted to push their worries away, but their voices followed her like shadows long after they left. That night, when her husband spoke softly beside her, her hands trembled. "Something troubles you again," he murmured. Psyche forced a small smile he could not see. "Only thoughts. They pass." But they did not pass. They stayed. They grew. By the time he slept, she lay awake, heart pounding painfully. She needed to know. Slowly, quietly, she slipped out of bed and found the small oil lamp she had hidden earlier under a cloth. Her hand shook as she lit it. The soft flame grew, casting trembling light across the room. For a moment, Psyche hesitated. If she turned back, everything could remain peaceful, warm, safe. But curiosity pushed forward. She lifted the lamp. The light fell on a face that made her breath stop. He was not a monster. He was not a creature. He was a god. Golden hair framed gentle features. His skin glowed faintly as though touched by sunlight itself. Soft white wings lay folded behind him. He looked peaceful, serene, almost fragile in his sleep. Psyche gasped softly. Her trembling hand tipped the lamp. A single drop of hot oil spilled on Cupid's shoulder. He woke with a startled cry. The lamp fell from her hands. Cupid sat up, pain flashing across his face, wings unfolding in panic. When he saw Psyche standing there, frozen, eyes full of shock and fear, something in him broke. "You looked," he whispered, voice shaking. "I asked for your trust. Only that." Psyche stumbled forward. "Wait, please. I didn't mean to hurt you. I only wanted to see you. I wanted to understand." Cupid's eyes filled with grief deeper than anger. "I loved you. I tried to protect you from what would happen if you learned the truth too soon." He stood. The room seemed dimmer around him, as if his sadness had taken the light with it. "My mother warned me mortals could not be trusted. I told her she was wrong. You proved her right." Psyche felt tears burn her eyes. "No, I trust you. I was afraid. I didn't want you to be something horrible. I wanted you to be real." Cupid shook his head. "I was real. I am real.
But trust cannot survive a broken promise. He stepped back, as if distance might shield him from the pain. I must leave, before more harm comes. I cannot stay. Psyche reached out desperately. Please don't go. I love you. I didn't know until this moment, but I love you. Cupid closed his eyes, as if his words were both beautiful and unbearable. Love cannot live without trust. Goodbye, Psyche. The world around them trembled. Light swept through the room like a sudden wind, and Cupid vanished, leaving nothing but silence. The palace shook, walls cracked, floors dissolved into mist. Psyche cried out as the world she had come to love, her home, her peace, her nights of whispered conversations, crumbled around her. She ran toward the entrance, but everything dissolved before she reached it. The next moment, she found herself on a barren hillside. The palace was gone. Her husband was gone. Darkness surrounded her. And for the first time, she felt completely, painfully alone. Her heart ached so deeply she pressed her hands to her chest, trying to hold it together. She understood now that her curiosity had cost her the one love she truly wanted, the one place where she had finally felt seen. I will find you, she whispered into the cold night. No matter the cost, I will find you, Cupid. But the wind carried no answer. Only her heartbeat, steady and aching, remained. Her journey had only begun.
Psyche did not know where Cupid had gone, but she knew one thing with painful clarity. She would not give up on him. Her mistake had shattered their world, but her love for him burned stronger than regret. So she began walking, through forests, through silent valleys, across empty fields, searching for a sign, a whisper, anything. Days passed. Then weeks. She grew thin and tired, her clothes stained with dust and travel. But her determination never dimmed. She prayed at every shrine she found, asking for guidance, asking for forgiveness, asking for the chance to make things right. One day, exhausted and nearly fainting, she climbed the steps of a small temple belonging to Venus herself. She sank to her knees. "Goddess," she whispered, "I know you are angry. I know I have no right to ask, but please, tell me where Cupid is. Tell me how to find him." The air inside the temple shifted. A soft glow filled the room. Venus appeared, beautiful yet stern, eyes sharp with a mixture of pride and irritation. "So," she said slowly, "the girl who stole my son's heart finally comes crawling." Psyche bowed her head. "I love him. I will do anything to make things right." Venus crossed her arms. "Anything? Even if the tasks are impossible?" "If they lead me back to him, yes." A small, cold smile touched the goddess's lips. "Very well. You want to prove your devotion? Then you will complete the tasks I give you. Fail once, and you will never see him again." Psyche stood. "I accept." Venus wasted no time. She led Psyche to a courtyard filled with a mountain of mixed seeds, barley, wheat, oats, lentils, a mound higher than a tall tree. "Sort these by nightfall, every grain in its proper pile," Venus said. Psyche stared at the impossible task. Tears filled her eyes, but she knelt anyway, hands trembling. "I will try." Hours passed. Her fingers bled. Her arms shook. But she kept going. Just when she reached her breaking point, A soft rustling filled the air. Tiny ants, hundreds of them, marched toward her. They surrounded the pile and began sorting the seeds quickly, precisely, as if guided by invisible wisdom. Psyche watched, stunned and grateful. By nightfall, every seed was sorted. Venus returned, frowning slightly when she saw the completed task. "You were lucky. Tomorrow you will not be." But she simply bowed. "What is the next task?" Venus brought her to a field guarded by fierce golden sheep with glowing eyes. Their wool shimmered like sunlight. They pawed the ground, dangerous as wildfire. "Gather their golden wool," Venus ordered. "Bring it to me by sunset." Psyche approached the field, but the sheep charged, ramming the fences, teeth sharp and angry. Fear clawed at her. Then a soft voice came from a nearby riverbank. It said, "Wait until the sun is low. When they rest in the shade, gather the wool caught on the branches. It is enough." She followed the advice. As evening came, the sheep retreated from the heat, their wool caught on the trees, glowing gently. Psyche gathered it carefully. Venus's frown deepened when she returned successful again. "So, you survived that too. Very well. Last task." She handed Psyche a small box. "Go to the underworld. Ask Persephone to place a bit of her beauty inside this. Bring it back unopened." Psyche froze. The underworld, a place no living person returned from. But she accepted the box with steady hands. Her journey downward was long and frightening. She crossed dark caverns, silent plains, and rivers of shadow. But she remained focused. When she reached Persephone, the queen of the underworld received her kindly, listened to her story, and placed a small amount of her beauty inside the box. "Return safely," Persephone said gently, "and do not open it." Psyche nodded, but on her way back, a thought entered her mind. She had traveled so far, she had fought so hard. She was tired, worn, dusty, weak. "What if Cupid sees me and thinks I am unworthy?" she whispered. "What if I am not beautiful enough anymore?" Her hands trembled. "Just a little," she told herself. "Just one look inside." She opened the box. A dark cloud rushed out. Sleep, heavy and suffocating. It wrapped around her, and she collapsed to the ground, sinking into deep, unnatural slumber. Hours passed. Then soft footsteps approached. Cupid. He had healed from his wound and searched for her, driven by fear, guilt, and the love he could no longer deny. When he saw her lying still, his heart broke. "No," he whispered, lifting her gently. "Psyche, please." He brushed the dark sleep from her face, blowing it away like dust. Slowly, her eyes fluttered open. "Cupid?" she breathed. He held her close, voice shaking. "You should never have had to suffer this much for loving me." Psyche touched his cheek. "I would do it again. I would walk every path twice if it led back to you." Cupid kissed her forehead gently. Then he rose, carrying her into the sky, straight to the throne of Jupiter, the king of the gods. "Father, please, let us be together." Jupiter studied them, eyes filled with the old wisdom of the heavens. "Love," he said slowly, "is a balance of trust and sacrifice. You both have learned this." Then he turned to Psyche. "You shall drink the nectar of the gods. You shall become one of us." Psyche's breath trembled. Truly? Jupiter nodded. Your love has earned its place among the stars. With a single gesture, divine nectar touched her lips. Light swept over her, changing her from mortal to immortal. Cupid took her hand, tears shining in his eyes. They were equals now, together, forever. Their reunion became a story whispered through temples and carried in songs across generations. The tale of a god who loved a mortal, and a mortal who crossed worlds to prove her love. A tale of trust, lost, found again, and made eternal. Cupid and Psyche. A love stronger than fear. A love written not in shadows, but in everlasting light.